Thor approves of this workout. Wow, CrossFit Open 20.4 with lots of heavy weights and pistols. Okay, I can't do the whole thing. Hope you guys like that. We're gonna do a quick costume change, and so now you can see that I'm wearing a different costume as I'm part of the psych board. I'll put the hammer away too. All right, guys. So welcome back to another open breakdown with Thrivistry. If you struggle with pistols, if pistols is something that you haven't done before, or you can do a couple, but maybe or your one leg is worse than the other, we're going to go into a lot of detail about the pistols. So stick around for that, and I'm going to kind of jump through everything else, but that's going to be one of my main focuses for this video for you guys who are kind of more beginner intermediates. So box jumps. So no corner jumps. You know, you cannot stand on the corner and jump. Just be aware of that. You can't push off the leg, so you can't step on the box or jump on the box and push off up your legs. And just as you guys were judging, be aware that that's not allowed. So you really have to stand on the box. So what that means too is that the higher you can jump on the box, if you're doing box jumps and land where you're not landing in a partial squat, that is going to save your legs later on if you plan on getting to the pistols. And then if you are doing like rebounding box jumps, you have to stand on the box before you jump off, so you're not allowed to land on a partial squat and then go through the open hip at the top. So just make sure you're getting credit for the reps that you're doing. Now, this is 120 box jumps in a relatively short time, especially if you're going to be getting into the later parts of the workout. Just make sure that you're taking care of your heel cords. This is make sure you do lots of ankle mobility and that you've practiced rebounding box jumps and you don't have anything going on. So you want to make sure that you mobilize your calf, your soleus, the bottom of your foot. So use a hard roller or a kettlebell. Put your foot on there and hit the calf in the different points, hit different angles. Make sure you stretch your calves out, and then even put the ball on the bottom of the foot, and then roll the arch of the foot out and all underneath the foot. That's going to actually help with pistols later on. We're going to talk about ankle mobility and pistols in a little bit. So just be aware that rebounding box jumps, they may get you a slightly faster tiebreaker, but for most people, it's going to be, if you can just get a couple reps into the next barbell, that's actually going to be better than the tiebreaker, right? So the tiebreaker doesn't matter as much. All the tiebreakers happen after the box jumps or the pistols. So if you can just get a couple reps at that heavy barbell, the tiebreaker time isn't as important. So doing a bunch of rebounding box jumps and possibly injuring yourself, or taking a spill in the box even, isn't quite as worth it. I think most people, if you don't plan on getting to those last 2 or 3 barbells, doing jump up, step downs isn't going to punish you that much, right? It's not really worth the risk of the injuries. So step ups are totally fine if you plan on scaling. Go ahead and do the step ups, and just remember from a scaling standpoint, every rep that you do that's RX, if you can just do the first round or two, with step ups and the first barbell weight or whatever, go ahead and record that. Now, if you want to keep going for another 15 or 10 minutes or whatever, just to get a good workout, you can, but you can log whatever you did RX as RX. And if you do 1 rep RX, you technically rank higher than everybody else who scaled. So I do prefer people just go ahead and do around, the beginning of the workout at the RX weights, and then do scale later on if they want to keep working out. Soft boxes. So one of the things that you'll notice is that soft boxes tend to be a little shifty. They're better in case you fall, but if especially when you're doing the 24-inch height. So if you have hard boxes and they're more rigid and you feel more comfortable in those, go ahead and do that. But if the foam boxes you guys are using are good, go ahead and use those. Stay the hell away from those metal frame boxes. Those things are death traps, where if you miss, your shin just goes right into the steel. Now, when it comes to rebounding box jumps, one of the things that helps with those is that you want to stand on top of the box, and your rep is actually down up, and then you pause, down up. So don't rest on the floor, rest on top of the box. And then as you come off the box, you want to extend your legs and point your toes down. By pointing your toes down, that's going to help you get a better stretch reflex to get you up the next rep. And as I mentioned already, try to land on the box with a pretty open hip, so that you don't have to squat and stand up, right? So that's going to save your legs for those pistols coming down later. Now, Ollie shoes. Most people aren't comfortable doing a lot of box jumps in Ollie shoes. If you do plan on getting to the pistols and you're not much farther, you're going to have enough time to change into those Ollie shoes, and that's going to help. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later. For most people, just wear your regular shoes for the first few movements, and then switch to the Ollie shoes when you get to the later rounds. So should you do step ups? Again, if you're not really too worried about the pistols or anything else, step ups are great. Maybe you do a combination of the two, some box jumps, some step ups. That's totally fine. Light clean and jerks. I'm going to skim through these. Obviously, we want you to do the power clean into a push press or into a push jerk. Now, normally I would say you shouldn't push press it at all, but this workout doesn't have any other real shoulders and it has all legs. And if we can do a power clean into a push press and we don't have to do that second dip, that's going to take away some of the strain on our legs and allow us to keep moving and then give us more juice for the pistols. So it's okay to do like maybe a tiny jerk at the top, or if it's a little confusing, just do what you're comfortable with. But a power clean into some sort of push press or push jerk, especially at the first barbell. On the second barbell, you'll probably want to do a little bit more of a jerk. When you come off of the box jumps, go right into a set. Go ahead and do a set of, a small set at least. Just get moving. Don't stop and get chalk or put your belt on. Those lighter weights, you should be able to rep those out. If it's heavy for you, obviously that's a little bit different. We're talking about if it's light for you. And then go into small sets and small rest. Watching Ben Smith, he actually rested on the 95s. He didn't even do the 95s unbroken, and he finished the workout. So don't be afraid to just let the bar fall, but you have to go right back to it. You can't walk around and do a whole bunch of resting if you plan on getting into the later parts of the workout. And so I mentioned use more arms if you can. All right, pistols, the part you've all been waiting for. If you're somebody who's struggling with pistols, it's probably a combination of a few things. But most importantly, it is probably your ankle range of motion. So if you have trouble getting your knees over your toes, then pistols are going to be a problem. Because what happens is, as we start to go down in the pistol, that knee has to go out past the toe, really, so that we don't fall over backwards. Because that weight of the other leg out in front is not enough to counterbalance us. So then we start to tip over backwards, and it just creates a whole issue. Then getting low enough becomes a problem. So one of the things that's really going to help you with pistols is ankle mobility. So I mentioned mobilizing the calf and the bottom of the foot. Another thing that you can do is, and I can't get my leg up here, but what you're going to do is massage the front of the ankle and the bottom of a squat, and you're gonna hit the front where that ankle is closing, and you're going to massage that. And there's some great videos from Kelly Starrett and the Ready State where he really goes over this ankle mobility. If we can keep that ankle mobility, if we can get more ankle mobility and keep that knee tracking over the foot, that's going to be huge for pistols. The other thing is that if you lack that range of motion, wearing Ollie shoes and even putting a hard insert, not a soft insert, but a hard insert to really kind of create a big gap under the heel, that's going to be really important. Now, sometimes in our gyms, what we'll do is we'll have people actually stand with their heel on like a 5-pound plate. I don't think that would be allowed in this because it's kind of like a weird variation that wouldn't be allowed, but Ollie shoes are fine. So if you can wear a thick-heeled Ollie shoe and then again put some sort of insert in it, that's going to allow you to, by having your heel come up, that makes it easier for your knee to go forward and keep your center balance over your foot so you don't tip over backwards. So really, ankle mobility is one of the most important things. The other thing is that you need to think about pushing through your heels. And so for a lot of people, they don't really think about where the pressure is in their foot. And this, when you're doing pistols, what you really want to do is dig the heel and imagine if you were on sand or you were on some sort of soft surface, you would make an indentation with your heel. And if you push through the heel, that's really going to help you finish the pistol with a full range of motion because it recruits a lot more glutes. And so I would even say that the pressure on the foot is back toward the heel more than it is on a normal squat. Now, one of the things I do want to point out is that you have to alternate. So if you're good on one leg and not the other, you got to figure it out. You got to practice that. Now, sometimes people can actually do pistols holding a weight out in front. Now, technically, that should be allowed. That's actually a harder movement than doing pistols. I didn't see any of the rules, but you guys might want to double check. You might hold a 5 or a 10-pound plate out in front, and then you can complete the pistol because it helps keep you balanced to do that. So if you're someone who's looking just to get a couple pistols or whatever, that could be a way to get a couple extra pistols is using some sort of counterbalance. And then same thing with those heavy Ollie shoes, that can kind of help counterbalance your weight as well. You're not allowed to push off the knee, so just make sure you're not pushing off the knee. Sometimes it helps too to lean toward the leg that you're pushing off of. That can help get the crease of the hip a little bit lower, below the top of the knee. And then one thing I didn't see anybody do in some of the announcements was supporting the other leg. Now this is allowed, so you're allowed to hold your other leg, right? So you can actually grab your ankle or hold your knee or hold your thigh when you do this. Now for this many pistols, what happens is that leg sticking out in front is going to get fatigue the quads and the hip flexors. Now we need those quads and hip flexors for the heavier clean and jerks. And so if you can hold that leg up so that heel doesn't hit the ground, If it helps, then that can be something. You can even just grab a handful of shorts and help hold your leg up, or grab your knee sleeve or whatever. Those things are fine. So you may support the other leg. But just the main thing I wanted you guys to hear for the pistols is think about ankle mobility, and think about wedging the heel, having that something under the heel so you can really dig and push through the heel. So let's say you've made it past the first round of pistols and now you're moving into the heavy clean and jerks. So I think for a lot of people, this is where we're going to see some of the tiebreakers happen, right? So when we start hitting those heavier barbells, especially when there's some of the bigger rep ranges, take your time, do singles, make sure you're doing all jerk at this point. You shouldn't be trying to press it out. And power clean it if you can. Obviously, if you have to squat clean it, go ahead and do that. But if you plan on getting through that first barbell after the pistols, if you can power clean it, that's going to save your legs a little bit for the next set of pistols. And that, of course, goes on as you go on to the heavier and heavier barbells. Going back to the scale divisions, again, log your highest RX score. The scale for the pistol is great. If you're going to use the med ball step up, go ahead and put that ball on your shoulder, I believe is the best way to do this. Instead of trying to hold it out in front in the chest, that's going to make it harder on your back and everything. And then make sure you're paying attention to the tiebreaker. So again, remember that the tiebreakers happen after the box jumps or after the pistols, which is great because I think it allows people to kind of rush to get through. Go ahead and push the pace on the box jumps or the pistols. But if you're going for a heavy bar that you're not sure if you're going to hit or it's going to be a fight, then take your time. So go ahead and rush to get through, but then take your time, because in a 20-minute workout, unless you're getting to that last bar, those last 2 bars, you're probably gonna have lots of time to rest and then get into a steady rhythm when it comes to the heavy bar clean and jerks. But I think that's it for today, guys. Good luck. Hopefully you can nail some pistols for the first time. Don't forget, if you learned something, make sure you hit like and go ahead and share this video. Subscribe for more of this type of stuff. And thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.